memories. It's all excited. Charged.
In the next step.
Yeah, he's not excited about it. So I didn't think you want to sound, the ones. What? I,
Are you wonderful? Thank you so much.
Thought that we had a lot of nerves and offering something like that.
She's been having coffee, so I thought, oh, she's got like that stuff.
I already.
Good to see you.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
We have, gentleman who does the underwriting for insurance. Just coming in from the parking lot, so he'll be here
Oh, okay.
one minute, okay?
Okay, perfect. Yeah.
301.
Speaker just arrived.
You like that one better.
He's just walking in, so thank you.
Gavel in for this meeting? Yeah.
Go ahead and just call it to order. And we have 4 board members present.
Yes, call to order. We have a forum, please.
Yeah.
Calling meeting to order. I have to announce who's present. No, okay.
We just have, we have a forum. First item on the agenda for the study session.
Are we live? Luis, are we ready? Good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for spending some time with us this afternoon. I know this is somewhat new for our governing board and for our community and for our employees, is to have a study session prior to the vote to decide on compensation and benefits for next year. But the purpose of this meeting was to give you all an opportunity to have an idea of what we'd like to propose ahead of time. So if you have questions or you need additional information, we would rather have that conversation before that board meeting versus getting to the board meeting and then you have questions and then we make last minute decisions. And that's just not good for the plan, and it's not good for clarity and for transparency. So we do appreciate your attendance this afternoon, and hopefully we'll give you the information that you need to make a good decision in April. So the first thing that I would like to do is to introduce our guests. As you know, we are moving to self-insurance for next school year. And so we've been working very closely with Valley Schools. And so I have the representatives from Valley Schools who will be joining us today, and they'll also be prepared to answer any questions that you might have. So would you like to introduce yourself, Jameson?
Yeah, so I'm Jameson Davis. I do all the underwriting and contributions and all that fun stuff. Any analytics kind of runs through me for Valley Schools. I work with Brown & Brown, outside consulting firm for Valley Schools.
Hi, my name is Christy Todd. I'm the senior account executive, so I've been working closely with the district to evaluate the current plans, look at where we can do improvements. I hate to say it, but I've been in insurance for 45 years. So I have a lot of experience and knowledge, so just bringing that to the table and letting the district make some good business choices. And I know that you guys are very compassionate about looking at savings and taking care of your employees, so very impressed with that. So thank you for having us.
Well, welcome. And if we could ask our board members to introduce themselves to our Valley Schools friends.
At Molina, I'm the youngest or the most junior, the most junior board member that's present.
And my name is Linda Bosom, and I represent my District 2 in the Flint, Peoria, Glendale areas.
I'm Barbara Wiley, and I represent between here and California.
Mexico.
Northern Mexico, yeah. Hi, good afternoon. My name is Juan Ramirez. I represent District 1 and I'm the chair this year. Welcome.
Afternoon, Superintendent. Good to see you this morning, this afternoon. See you.
And we have
Tucked away back there.
and Luis is our. And we have two, or is it three? I think we have three board members that aren't seated this afternoon. Mr. Garcia, Mr. Straka is joining us online.
No, he's not.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Garcia will be here a little late.
Okay, awesome. And
Mr. Steins will not be here.
And he won't be. Okay, so we do have board members that are not present. So we'll go ahead and get started with the presentation. The first thing that we wanted to present is to give you a historical perspective, since we are going to be talking about salary increases this evening. We thought it would be helpful for you to get a picture of the salary increases going back approximately 5 or 6 years. So as you can see from the slide up here, it is broken down by job category or by job classification. And those increases are listed here for each year, subsequent year from there. Then at the bottom, there's some footnotes because there were some additional requirements of the governing board during those particular years. For example, employees had to turn in their contracts by a certain date in order to qualify for part of their increase and then a rollover of a subsequent increase the following year. So I did provide the handouts for you to follow along in your folder and to take notes or jot down any questions that you might have. So we thought that that would be helpful for you to have that information as we start this conversation. So the last increase that we had was, or actually for this school year, was a 4% increase across all categories. And then the employees that were eligible for the quality of life stipend, that amount was added to their base as well, moving forward. Okay. Any questions about this particular slide? Okay. Next, we thought it would be helpful to provide you the actual insurance increases from ASBE over the last 5 years or so. And so as you can see, the increases have varied. Most recently, we've been at an 8.7% increase this year from ASBE. We did have a conversation with them this year to see if they would still be interested in being considered for next year. And they did come back with a 3.75% increase for next year. So if you want, I didn't put that on the slide, but you can kind of keep that in mind that we did reach out to them to give them an opportunity to throw their hat in the ring. Yes, that would be the increase for 25, 26, if we were to stay with ASBE.
That's what Monday would just be, if you had 25, 26 here for projected, it would be the 3.5%. That would be for next year's increase for the insurance rates. Which is really almost unheard of with that low a rate to be, which means our.
Some negotiations, Kathy, I'm sure.
And they're trying to stay competitive, which I understand. And we also had a follow-up conversation with another vendor that we presented to you last year, which was Kairos. Kairos did make a presentation and they did have a salary savings of approximately, I want to say about $500,000. However, they were not able to give us a copay or a no deduct plan. And that was pretty much what got them out of the game last year because it's a very, very popular plan with our employees. But we did talk to some additional vendors other than Valley Schools.
We did not offer a self-funded option.
And thank you. That's correct.
They didn't offer a self-funded option, which is something that we were interested in moving forward with.
Typically, what Kairos would like to do, they would like to test it out for a year before they say yes to a self-funded, which didn't work for us because we wanted to go self-funded for this next year. So it's like a trial by error. So works out okay, great. If it doesn't, well, we're not really sure we're going to keep you. So we don't want to play those kinds of games.
The next slide, we would like to present a comparison of the plan design from this year as compared to the recommendations that we've been working with Valley Schools for next year.
So the top one is this year, right? And the bottom one is the proposed 25, 26.
That is correct. So as you can see, and if you just kind of follow down, we tried to work as closely as possible to the current plan design that we have. Some of the big changes that you'll see is that we wanted to simplify the tiered system that ASBE currently uses for example, if you look in 24, 25 for lab x-rays, you see how they have like 2 different amounts. And then if you go to a tier 3, it's a different amount. So what we did is we streamlined that to make it much more simple. And this came up with the exact copay, and we took the lowest copay in that tier that ASBE recommended.
Yeah, you want to come over here and point that out because it's easier if you put your finger on the screen so you can have she did it.
Feel like, man, you want to go over here or over here?
I can see this one.
Okay. So, as you can see, right here, this is what I was talking about. You see how they have all these different tiers here? We wanted to make it simple. So we took the lower ranges from the tiers and just dropped them down here. So employees, if they do decide to stay on the copay plan, which would now be called the EPO plan, they would have a simplified pricing structure when they go to the doctor. Okay, so that was one change that we made here. The other recommendation was to not offer an out-of-network option for the PPO plan. So if employees decided to stay on that plan, then they would not have an out-of-network option. But I would say probably 100% of our employees, if they have to get something pretty serious like surgery or something like that, they're gonna go in network, okay? Because as you can see, that's a pretty pricey medical spend because they have to do the deductible plus 50% of the cost. That's huge. So we felt comfortable eliminating the out-of-network option.
And I would say, I'm sorry, Kathy, to interrupt, but working with Jameson and Chrissy, we're gonna switch over to United Healthcare Network as opposed to Banner and Aetna. And can you kind of just share, is United Healthcare a broader network or a narrower network than Banner Aetna?
Yeah, I can hit that one. So yeah, UHC does have a larger network here than Aetna does. It's not by much, it's like a couple points, 3 to 4%, but it is a larger network. So when you look even at the state of Arizona, their most popular plan is their EPO plan, which has no out-of-network. And traditionally, what we see in the out-of-network utilization, it's usually 1% at the most. That's because ER does not count. So if you go to an emergency room visit, if you have an emergency room visit that's out of network, it actually pays like it's in network. So those don't count in those numbers. When I say most people, when they typically go to a provider that's out of network, that provider usually doesn't take anybody they're a VIP kind of doctor. So those people do choose to do that, and oftentimes they don't even get a benefit out of the out-of-network side. So that's why we're really comfortable with not having that, because you're all in Arizona. If you're in rural areas or something like that, a little bit further, multi-state, then that'd be something we could talk about.
And the other important thing to remember about the copay gold plan is even if we would have stayed on ASBATE for next year, they are gonna sunset this program. So they're not gonna have a copay program in effective 25-26. And so we still wanted to offer that to our employees. However, we are gonna have to evaluate it next year to see if it's still cost effective for the district to still offer it. Okay, so moving down from Value Gold will now be the traditional PPO plan, if it's approved. So as you can see, we tried to streamline a lot of this tiered system that they have here. And the increase to employees is going to be in the out of network, it's going to go up 5,000 and 10,000 instead of 3,000 and 9,000. But we were trying to keep this relatively consistent for the value for the deductible. Okay,
Big change on this one is your current plan's at 75% co-insurance. We moved that to 80 because that's closer to benchmark. And the ultimate goal, as I built these plans out, is to keep the actuarial value of each of these plans relatively the same, but really similar to your current plans. So that was the ultimate goal as I built this out.
any questions?
Sometimes our employees travel out of state.
Yeah, national network, UHC's across.
National network, it's regardless of where you are.
And you don't need referrals, so you're fine. You can always pick up the phone and find a doctor in your area if you're traveling in a different state.
We have that with Banner right now.
Yeah, you still have that with Banner. And when you travel outside of Arizona, you would use their PPO open access plan. So nationally, UHC is much larger than that now. So.
And then moving to the high deductible health plan, we tried to keep that pretty similar. And so the deductible would go from 60, can you see how you have all of these tiers here? We tried to get the lowest cost deductible or the lowest deductible per plan year and move that to $1,650 instead of some of these other tiers. And then we also came up with a maximum amount of pocket would be 5,000 or 10,000 as opposed to these tiered systems here. And then here, it'll be the deductible plus 20% of the cost as opposed to some of these tiers here. So for like say, for example, the copay for the PCP and the specialist, it may be a little bit more expensive depending on the cost that provider charges. So instead of paying maybe $20 on this plan, if it's 20%, the employee would have to decide, is this the provider I want to go to? Have I done my research to see if there are other lower cost options? Because now I'm going to be paying 20% instead of a flat rate.
Kathy, what are the two numbers?
Where? Here?
Deductible, maximum out of pocket. Some of the two numbers. 1650 and 33.
So this is out of network, correct?
No, yeah, the 1650 is what the individual will need to meet
it's
for their deductible. And then they go into co-insurance, and the co-insurance is an 80-20 split. Once your 20% reaches the rest of your $5,000 out-of-pocket max, then you're covered at 100%. Everything goes towards your out-of-pocket max though, so your deductible goes towards it. You'll see some copays on the bottom for the pharmacy, so deductible plus 15, 25, 40. Those copays go towards your out-of-pocket max as well, so everything goes towards
As
it.
you can see here on the out of network, there is no maximum out of.
Yeah, and that's how it is currently as well.
Yeah, it really is to the employee's benefit to stay in network.
And across all three plans, your out-of-pocket max, if you have something catastrophic happen, it's all the same across all three of those two. Right, we were consistent about.
Yeah.
How many employees do you anticipate to be in that high deductible?
I do have those numbers for you, Mr. Molina. Since I'm up here, I don't have them on a slide, but clearly when the offer was made to incentivize, if you will, employees to migrate over to the high deductible plan, a lot of employees did. because of two reasons, because of the health savings account that's attached to this. And also if they want family coverage. So remember, employees can only have family coverage on these two plans. They can't have it on the copay plan. So that caused some migration there as well. Okay. Can you switch to the next slide? Any questions about this slide before we move on?
The number on the left, you said is the individual out-of-pocket deductible, and then on the right is the family amount. Yeah, those numbers,
These two numbers?
yeah.
See, I thought it was family, but.
Yeah, that's individuals, the 1650, the families, the 30.
Okay, so I'm going crazy, thank you. So does that make sense? So
Yes.
this is the individual that's
Okay.
here for family.
So on your high deductible health plan right now, you have 56 employees in total in all four tiers. In your traditional PPO plan, which is your middle plan, you've got 66 employees. And then on your EPO plan, you currently have 55. So relatively even at, yeah, split.
Yeah, and that's just choices that families have made, because you see, you know, and when I'm looking at those numbers, there's a large number of families in that value goal, not high deductible, and it just really depends on what the healthcare needs are of your family, which one you choose to.
And the board, remember the board pays for this for employees, families, spouses.
If you get buy into this.
We don't cover family in that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Any other questions
Slacking.
before we switch? Okay, so we thought this would also be helpful for the governing board to review. To give you a historical view of the health savings account, remember that is in combination with the high deductible health plan. So employees that select that also get the health savings account as well. They do get the money in two payments, one payment in the fall and one payment in the spring. But as you can see, these numbers have increased over the years because at some point the governing board decided that in order to have employees migrate to the high deductible health plan, they would take the difference between the value gold plan and the high deductible, and the copay plan, figure out that number, whatever that difference was, they put that money into a health savings account for the employee to go to the HDHP. Does that make sense? Okay, so what happened over the years, as you can see, as healthcare costs have gone up, so have the HSAs. Okay, so you have, if an employee was here all 5 of these years and they were grandfathered, meaning that they were hired before 2022, then they were able to get 2020, they were able to get a much higher contribution to their health savings account than employees who were hired after that date. Okay, fair or unfair, that is what the governing board decided, because at that time they felt that would have employees migrate to a lower cost plan for the district. But as you can see over the years, if I was an employee that was grandfathered, I was able to get a contribution of over $17,000 to my health savings account. If I was hired after 2020, I got $6,000. Okay, so that really is a big inequity. And so we are making the recommendation that in fairness to all employees, that we standardize the amount of money that will contribute to the health savings account that would cover the cost of their deductible. And you'll see that in just a second. Okay. You ready? Any questions about the health savings accounts? All right, so just to give you a snapshot of how this is gonna affect actual money coming out of employees' pockets. If an employee decides to stay on the copay plan and they're buying up, meaning that they were hired, after the 2020, they have to pay this amount right now, 46.64. For 25-26, what we're proposing is that all employees pay the same to buy up to that co-pay plan, okay? So all employees would now pay the $150 per month, right? To buy up, correct. Right now, if they're on the deductible, no deductible plan, the grandfathered employees. Oh boy, it's been a long day. They're only paying $37.02 per month. Okay, so what we are proposing is that, you know, we standardize that contribution. And so all employees, if they want to stay on that no deductible plan, would now pay $150 per month. Okay. Next, for the traditional PPO or the value plan, the contribution would go from $30.33 per month to $48.02 per month. Roughly, that's an increase of 2%. So at some point, the governing board felt that employees should contribute at least 3% toward the cost of their insurance, right? And so that's why they're contributing at all. That was board's decision. So what we're recommending is if we follow that same concept, instead of employees only contributing 3%, they would now contribute 5%. So that's why you see this difference between 30.33 and 48.02. Because we are asking our employees to contribute a little bit more toward the cost of their health insurance. That is free, that is correct. Yes. And by doing this, this also creates a savings for the district because we're paying less for the cost of that insurance for the month. Because employees are kicking in a little bit more money. That makes sense? So for the high deductible health plan, this is what employees are paying now per month. With that increase, we are recommending that they now go to $42.20 per month. So it's roughly a $16 increase. Okay. For the HSA contribution, for those employees that are not grandfathered, right now they receive $14.26 per month. We are recommending that we standardize that contribution to the HSA for all employees that are on the high deductible plan. And they would receive $16.50. And then the grandfathered employees that received $4,022 would also now receive $16.50. Okay. Any questions?
How many people are, you have the numbers, like how many people are still on the 4,022?
Do you have that?
Chief, 23.
23?
And there are 32 that are not, that are receiving the lower. Mhm.
The next slide is Marcy. I'm sorry, one more. So these are the additional benefit options that our employees will have if the board approves the change over to Valley Schools. Again, we'll have United Healthcare for our health insurance plan. We will have two plans under under dental. We'll still have Delta Dental, and we'll also have what's called the dental HMO plan, which is kind of like a, you know, you have to go to a certain doctor, you have to go to, you know, it's a very, very specific plan. And employees, if they select that plan, they would just have to see if their current district or dentist is in that particular network.
And I'll tell you what I like about that is, if you have to have some major work done, the limit, the annual limit on Delta Dental right now is $1,500. And if you've been to the dentist lately, $1,500 doesn't get much work done. So that's a limit for Delta Dental. The HMO plan, however, which we currently do not offer, this is a new option that we would offer our employees. It has no limit on it. So that's, you know, it's a little bit more controlled in a narrower network, but if you can find a good dentist on that network, it will save you money in the long run, and it's a less expensive premium.
And they do offer adult orthodontia, I do believe, on the HMO plan. So an employee could select that if they know that they're gonna have that cost in the near future. For vision, we would be going to the VSP plan. For life and short-term disability, that'll be offered through Sun Life. The nice thing about the short-term disability program, I think, through Sun Life is that employees will be able to enroll through the open enrollment process, as opposed to dealing with an outside vendor and, you know, they call you and ask you a bunch of questions. So it'll be a much smoother process, I think, for employees to go through Sun Life. If employees do want to buy up for additional life insurance or accident, critical care, or hospital, that's offered through Colonial Life. They will also be there to assist us with open enrollment. We are going to ask all of our employees to come to mandatory meetings for their insurance information, because we want to make sure everybody gets the information so that they can make the best choice. So we're making it mandatory in order for them to have benefits for the upcoming year. Next, identity theft is going to be a free benefit offered to our employees through Allstate. They can buy up for some additional protections through their program, but they will have a basic program that employees can enroll in at no cost, identity theft. Then we'll also have pet insurance through MetLife. We'll still have the employee assistance program through Interface Behavioral Health. They'll be able to go to 3 sessions with a provider through Interface. And then if they need additional support outside of that, then they'll get referred out to other providers. And then finally, Valley Schools has a really robust wellness program. It's called Well Styles. And so employees will be able to get information and enroll in that program as well. Okay, so these are, pardon me?
The employee wellness, what is that?
We have in-house our wellness team that will engage with all our members. They do challenges. We have courses online that people can participate. We come out and do events. We do 5Ks. We work with the district and find out what your needs are. What educational resources might be needed based on your demographics. So it's very customized.
Wellness
Basic-
education, basically.
Yes, absolutely. Mhm.
Anything with gym memberships?
We have
those kinds of-
discount for gym memberships also. Mhm. And also One Pass where you can go to all different.
Through United Healthcare, in Valley Schools,
Mhm.
you can elect that One Pass. One Pass has a few different levels. What's great about it is like level 1 gets you to all the LA Fitnesses, the Planet Fitnesses, the EOSs, so you don't have to just go to one, you can go to whichever one.
Mhm.
And as you go up to the tiers, they have like Lifetime on there, they've got Stretch Lab on there, they've got yoga places on there, so it's a very robust program that gives you a lot of access to do a lot of different things.
Orange Theory.
Orange Theory, F45.
How much does that cost the employee?
It's anywhere, I think the lower threshold's like $30, and then the higher thresholds are 100 for the lifetime.
For the One Pass.
For a month?
Yeah.
Or-
Monthly. Mhm. And you're not locked into that, so you don't have a contract. So if you decide that you wanna terminate it, you can do it at any time.
Still 100 for lifetime, it's not a bad deal.
No, not at all. Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, I think Marcy, I think it's your turn. It's my turn. All right, okay.
Any other comments you want to make about the health plans that we missed or?
No, I mean, the thing that I'm excited most about is to simplify those plans for MassBay. That's usually the first thing I do when they come over to Valley Schools is take out those tiered products. Now they have access to the entire UHC network, which includes Mayo. So, I mean, there's a lot of benefits in coming over. And healthcare is hard enough. Having all those different tier structures and copay structures just makes it that much more difficult to understand what should I be spending when I go seek healthcare. So.
Okay, we'll talk about money. Can you afford with any of this? And so Kathy had started with, we wanted to show you the history of what the salary increases have been over time. And so that's something we look at every year. One of the things that as an executive team, we say, can we at least give a cost of living increase? We know inflation, things have progressed. It costs more now to buy eggs, to buy houses, you know, and so we want to make sure we're trying to keep up with that to help our employees. So one of the things that we looked at, the first thing we looked at is what can we afford for a salary increase? So we've had some conversations around what performance pay allocation will do as opposed to just giving an annual increase, the cost of living and a raise for our staff. So we looked at the dollars that we're going to have available for next year. And we feel comfortable with a 4% increase recommendation for all staff. So that will give a cost of living. And that number is kind of a moving target now. So it can be anywhere from 3 to 1.5, depending on what month you're looking at. And so if we just give a cost of living plus another percentage for an increase, that would bring us to 4. And then the performance pay, which you approved, that's the allocation of the 260. The new positions that you approved as well, a couple of board meetings, well, last board meeting actually, was for our growth. So that's going to be for our opening of our Agua Fria campus, new programs that we're offering at Northeast. We minimized any growth here at the district level, just because we felt that we needed to get a couple more schools under our belt. And then we can look at if there's additional support at the district level that we need to offer to those schools. So that's a conversation we'll have in the future. So all of the work that Jameson did with crunching our numbers and aligning our plans is saving the district 7.2%. So instead of that 3.5% increase that we would have been experiencing, we're now saving money with going with this structure. The other thing, and Jameson and I have worked together in the past in some other districts, and he understands that it's important also for us to stay fiscally conservative when we are going self-insured, just because there are some volatilities in claims and costs. So you always want to make sure that whatever premiums you're paying into your trust fund, if you will, is going to cover the claims that we are projecting the best we can, right? That we may incur next year. So Jameson, you want to talk a little bit about how you helped us level those premiums?
Yeah, so through the underwriting process, the model that we used for Valley Schools, so far I'm only 1% off in the last 5 years, so that's pretty good. My ultimate goal is to have a standard deviation of 5% high or 5% low in one individual year. That's where I want to kind of keep the actual projections. We look at your last 2 full plan years and your current plan year through December. We were able to get all that information from your current provider so that I can make that analysis along with your large claims to see where we think the future projection is going to be. We model that out through what's called a high case analysis. So we look at, are you incurring higher claims and larger claims in frequency or severity than we'd expect? And how often do we see that over the last 2.5 years? And we normalize that through those 3 time periods. And then we apply 7.1 annual trend for the medical side, and we apply 10.5% trend on the pharmacy side to take care of the trend that we're seeing just in the underlined utilization. And that's what helps us give us a quality standard projection on average over time. In the first year, ASBAte's going to still be responsible for what we call your run out claim. So anything that was incurred under that contract is going to be picked up by their contract. You won't be responsible for those claims. That gives you about a 1.5 month lead in time to help start your reserve process. The ultimate goal is to have a reserve policy put in place that allows you to build reserves so that when we do have a bad year, we have money to manage our bad years versus our good years. You're At your size, you're gonna have really good years, you're gonna have really bad, you're gonna have a little bit more volatility in that, but we have what's called stop loss insurance inside your overall medical plan that helps mitigate that volatility for your group size. You've got a lot of dependence on your plan too, that helps. Which is
Ceiling, what's the ceiling of the stopgap?
we put you at 125 per individual, and you only had 2 people exceed that last year.
125,000?
Yeah.
Okay, 125,000. And that volatility, that's because of the size of the school, the number of
Yeah,
employees.
the more members you have, the more spread you have for volatility purposes. You know, if you have $1 million claim, which you only have to pay 125,000 of, you have more people to spread that across than currently you guys have 324 members on your plan, which is good. It's a good sized group. It's just if you had 10,000, that's just a different,
Yeah.
it's a different burden.
It's good if you have dependents.
Yeah, dependents are good. And children are cheap. In healthcare, not in life. So I have 2 daughters, so I know the difference.
Thank you, that, for James. So that kind of builds that, hey, here's what we think the first year premiums need to look like. And so that was that 0.72% savings that we're going to incur, even just based on that. And we've talked about what our claim ratio has been to our what our premiums that we've paid ASPE compared to the claims that they're paying out on our behalf. And we just, that is one of the reasons why we're here in front of you today talking about going self-funded for our insurance coverage, because if we're paying out $3 million in premiums to ASPE, but they're only paying 1.7 million out in claims, where's that other 1.3 going?
Their pocket.
And we can have that in our bank right now. You know, so that's kind of the plan, and that's what we're moving towards. To make sure that and yes, we probably would be having a different conversation if we didn't have family coverage for our employees. But that's what really gives us that foundation to be able to, I believe in Kathy as well, and Dr. Spurgeon, that we can successfully implement a plan like this.
Between the 7.2% savings and the negative number on the
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, that means it's a decrease in the cost. So these are all costs, and then we get
That's the 7.2% savings, the
correct,
negative.
that we had to pay out this year, but we won't have to pay out next year.
That's double entry accounting, but all in one column.
That's right.
It's really a 10% swing, it's happy
Yeah,
stay with that.
it's a 10% swing. I mean, that, you know,
This year.
we would be talking going the other way if we hadn't chose to move in this direction.
Well, actually, it was a 3% increase that was projected, so you had a 10% swing.
Yeah, a 10.5% swing.
7%, something like
Well,
2%.
really what I want to get down to is the bottom line here, Mr. Ramirez, is how much additional funds do we need for next year above what we're paying this year to be able to do these things? And you saw there was a vacancy savings that we had budgeted and expended for, but we realized that with some of the high-level positions that we chose not to fill when they became vacant at the beginning of the year. So that was savings as well that we're gonna see. So what we're looking at now, and we're gonna make a recommendation for a 4% increase for our employees. And then the benefit package that we've presented to you this evening. Now, you're not gonna make any decisions tonight. This is a time for you to ask the questions, address any concerns that you have. And then Kathy and Dr. Spurgeon and I can address those for you when we bring the recommendations back to you at the next meeting.
We talked about the new position. There's gonna be students that are gonna fill that hole back up with ADM funding. So that's a big number there, so that hole
So
is gonna be
let's,
filled with
let's,
students.
so let's talk about what that, let's talk about what that does for us.
Yes.
So when I look at what our new students coming in will bring, as far as a dollar value in ADM funding, it's about $2.6 million. Okay. So when I say additional available funds for salaries and benefits, and you'll see the little asterisk down here. So we're a little bit unique than other school districts that I've worked with. Typically, salaries and benefits are about 85% of the budget, okay? Not the case here at West-MEC, because a portion of our budget is set aside for our member districts. So remember, you've got that large chunk of expense that's set aside for member districts that we give back to them to help them improve their programs. So the percentage of the budget and this percentage of this number is gonna be 60%. That's what I look at when we are saying, how much do we want to set aside for salaries and benefits? And that's how I have protected some of the other money that will need to support some things from that additional funds that are coming in for the ADM change. So you see the projection that I have. Now, Agua Fria Academy, those 150 students, they're coming. We sent out enrollment packets last week. Kids are signing up. They're excited about being part of that program. So that's pretty much gonna happen, guaranteed. The kids that are coming to Northeast Campus as well, we're adding some additional programs on that campus. They're gonna come. Now, could this 204 be a conservative number? It might be. You know, this year we did grow 200 students. And that was just at our central and partner program campuses. So if we're adding additional programs, we still may experience more growth than that. But for now, I'm gonna be conservative in my projection. The revised budget's gonna come to you in May. And those ADM numbers, which I watch very closely every week, projecting that that's gonna come in pretty close to 9,200. But for the purposes of when I looked at it last, it was 91, 96, so.
Budgeted 8,500 for this year.
And we budgeted, right, we budgeted 8,500, so we're gonna come back with a revised budget for, to realize those additional revenues in May. That'll be coming to you in May. So here's the money that we have looked to support this. So I feel very comfortable with making those recommendations. I think that we are in a very good place financially to be able to do that for our employees.
So you're projecting an additional million above what's needed for benefits and salaries?
No,
This
very
is
close.
this is what's available.
1.5. This is what I'm setting aside for benefits and
Yeah.
salaries, and
And
this
that's
is
up
what
to
we
Senate
need.
laws.
So
have-
it's about a wash.
1573, and what's the other one? 1539.
Yeah, that's
So-
what we need.
It's about $40,000.
60% of what our new monies are generated, so it's like zero sum game.
No.
It's a wash. Take care of the employees with what was just presented.
The question on the previous slide, the 4%.
Uh-huh.
You said that includes
Sorry.
that includes the cost of living inflation increases and 1% raise.
Correct.
Okay.
Or 1.5, I mean, depending on which cost of living rate you're looking at, right? Because that fluctuates every time I look at it.
That inflation rate, is that based on national data or local Arizona?
That's a good question. There is two different numbers. So there's a national number of an average of about 3. And the last Arizona one for December was 1.6.
But that also fluctuates month to
But that
month.
fluctuated. So if you look at the prior,
Yeah.
6 months, you're gonna see 2.8, 2.5, that 1.6 is what happened in December. Who knows what January, February are gonna bring
Yeah.
for those numbers? Things have been kind of up and down.
Historically over, you track it over 30, 40 years, it's anywhere from 2.5% to 3% as an average. So it's in that ballpark. You got a question regarding the vacancies. Are we looking at sometime in the future filling those previous vacancies? So as we project, thinking about next year or the year after, potentially we might add those back in.
The one will be filled this evening if the board approves it, and then we're getting ready to set up interviews for the second one. Hopefully just real quick.
Do we still need all those vacancies, or are some of those positions no longer needed?
There were probably 4 or 5 of this year that I can tell you, I knew they were gone, because we picked up all the additional responsibilities, double pack our schedules to be able to get all those things done. So yes, they're needed.
They're all still needed.
Very good questions. Anything else I can help clarify for you?
Anything else back on the plan itself? With the numbers and the splits and
That list of additional benefits, gym, yeah, all that. Are those extra costs to the employee then, or is that all part of the plan itself, the premium?
Well,
you can get
the
a,
district does pay for some of those services, but what we did is we added some voluntary benefits, excuse me. So for example, like the life insurance basic is paid by the district. Employees can purchase additional voluntary life. The nice thing is that when you go in with a new carrier, you have that guaranteed issue. So it's very important to educate those employees, especially when you have younger population. Educate them on the value of that life insurance product, if they need it, because it's a perfect time when you have guaranteed issue or being a new hire. The other benefits that we are bringing to the table also are through Colonial Life. It's a hospital indemnity plan. So for those that are in a high deductible health plan, and we educate everyone on that, it's a great plan to have to absorb some of those costs if you have a hospital admission. We also have critical care. If employees enroll in that, their dependent children are covered at no cost on that, which is a great benefit. So those are more catastrophic conditions or illnesses. And then we have the accident plan, which we know everyone has accidents, especially me now that I'm getting older, tripping over the dog. And employees can enroll in that and also select coverage for their spouse or dependents. The other thing that we talked about was the Allstate identity theft protection. Coming on board with Valley Schools, when you guys come in and you're self-insured through United Healthcare, we provide that at no cost for all benefited employees. They can purchase additional coverage if they want to cover a spouse or enhance products and services under that, but that's self-pay, like I had told Kathy and Marcy. The great thing about that, they don't have to worry about doing payroll deductions. It's all self-pay on that. And then we have the pet insurance, which people are fans of that now. Again, that's self-pay also, so there's discounts for that for your pets. We also have the employee assistance program, that would be paid by the district. It's 3 sessions that we looked at. So with that, that's per occurrence. So let's say that maybe you had lost someone in your life. You're going through grieving. You have 3 sessions for that. Maybe now you have a new occurrence that happens. Maybe you have a combative teenager and you just can't deal with that. That's another 3 occurrences. So it's not just limited to 3. We have a phone number that they can call. That way they can kind of triage them, make sure that they're getting to the level of care that they need, the specialist, so they set them up on those referrals. And then we talked about the wellness program also,
There's a lot of things that aren't listed on here. Through Valley Schools, under your medical, whoever signs up for the United Healthcare also gets access to Hinge, which is a virtual physical therapy session, which has been a huge success. We rolled it out about a year and a half ago. They also have access to Second MD. So let's say their child gets diagnosed with cancer, they want to have a second opinion about it, or lupus or whatever condition, they can actually send all of their information, and Second MD will reach out to the top physicians in that category and see if that's the appropriate type of care, that's the condition they actually think they have. And it's staggering to see some of the outcomes from the Second MD program. So those are 2 really strong programs, and then Parsley as well. If you're into gut health and all that, Parsley is a partnership program with Valley Schools to help those that want to kind of figure out what's going on internally. So, and those are only through the UHC Valley Schools partnership.
Right, and the other thing with United Healthcare is that we have virtual care also. Which is great, because sometimes you just don't have the availability to get to the doctor. So you can set up virtual care, have that care through video chat or through the phone. If a prescription's needed, they'll go ahead and call that in. I've used it before, so I didn't have to get out of my pajamas and drove through the drive-through pharmacy, so it's very convenient. We have the nurse line also there's just a lot of benefits. The other thing on our wellness too is that we go out and do health fair events and do biometrics also. So there's just quite a bit built into there that you're getting, that we looked at your current plan. And like I had told Kathy, it's almost like Chris Ruth Steakhouse, everything was à la carte. So we made sure that it was a very robust plan and you guys aren't getting nickeled and dimed on everything. Any questions?
Question, so if we were to stay with ASBIT, what would have been the number that we would have paid as opposed to this? This seems like a better plan to me. And it seems like more of a savings.
And it is, right? So they were gonna increase,
0.75%.
3.75%, dollar value on that, have. Do the math with
3 million.
about 3 million. So our premiums that we pay is 3 million, but that additional 3% on 3 million. So it'd be about what, 120,000 additional that we would be paying instead of saving. The plan, you are correct, that the other thing though, I think the plans are more robust. I think they're gonna be easier for our employees to understand. And it's that whole concept of we're paying premiums into a trust that is taking our money and using it for other school districts who can't afford or are not paying enough premiums. So, you know, that is the drawback from being a part of a trust. I mean, there's pluses to being a trust if you're a small rural district. We're not small rural anymore. You know,
Ms. Boozer, we're looking at the invisible number. So for an example, if we paid 3 million in premiums, we only had 1.7 in claims, we're giving them $1.3 million free of charge. So that's the invisible number. So we can't tell you what the actual savings is. We can tell you percent.
we can tell you a premium, right, percent, but actually, you're right, Dr. Richard. We're gonna be saving $1.3 million because it's gonna stay in our bank account. It's not going anyplace
But
else.
identical year last year, next year, then that's those premiums would come back to our coffers, which would be a 1.2 or $1.3 million savings, plus the $223,000 that Marcy just showed you. So it's still an invisible number until we get the year done. You can't.
You should be at a decent size before you can benefit from something like this.
You do, yeah, but we're right there, as you heard James say, we're involved because we're a little smaller, but at the end of the day, we're healthy, our claims, but we're gonna manage it and monitor it the first year. We'll come back to you next year if this is something that you decide we should move forward with, and we'll have adjustments made, right? Okay, here's what we experienced our first year. That's the beauty of being able to design our own plans, so that we can make adjustments where we see adjustments need to be made. If I've got some high cost medication that's happening, we can look at the formula, the medication formula that we're using and say, we need to adjust that. We need to encourage generics, and make sure that we are educating our employees. That's a big key, to being sensible and fiscally responsible with their healthcare needs.
I think Kathy and Marcia are great. Valley Schools has been fantastic to work with. I mean, I think they've been over backwards in a lot of areas and taken our recommendations and conversations and really did do what I think put together a great option, many options for our staff. So thank you for that very much.
Thank you.
So with regard to those savings, we paid in 3 million. It's 1.3 million that they're doing something else with, whatever that amount is. Since our premiums will go down. My concern is catastrophic care. At some point, we're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4.
When we buy the stop loss insurance, it's about 25.
Is there a way that we can allocate or that we can pigeonhole some of those savings to make sure that we cover that catastrophic stop loss so that we don't run into a catastrophic situation with the district?
That's part of the reserves, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's what's nice about your coming from a fully insured scenario to a self-funded scenario, that month and a half really kind of helps build out that reserve. So your first 12 months, ideally, you're only really spending 10 and a half months in claims.
Mr. Molina, one of the things we'll all encourage,
I budgeted for 12 months of claims. I didn't budget minus that brought in, so.
I would say the savings we get in the first year, we'll take the vast majority of that and stick it aside and put it away. Until we get 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 years down the road, then we can make those adjustments based on the savings, based on our claims. Until we get the average.
Like working with Valley Schools and the self-insured option is that as you roll those funds over from year to year to year,
Let's say you do have a bad plan year. You know, at another district or another employer, they may have to pass that cost on to employees, right? And create that spike. Whereas if you have the reserves, you could say, well, you know, I know we probably are gonna have a 9% increase in cost, but I think we can absorb it or we can minimize that impact to staff. And you lose that when you're not in a
Wherever
self-insured plan.
possible. Personally, that's where I would like to see, you know, minimize the impact on staff and the employees in terms of those larger costs.
Now have control over our own destiny, whereas before we did not.
It gives you that flexibility, and we come out and we evaluate them, we derive the claims experience, and we, yeah.
That's the nice part is, there's no secret to how we do this. It's outlined. I walk through it line by line for you.
Love the transparency.
We can just make that a yearly evaluation so that you're able to see the numbers every single year based year after year after year. Which is nice. And you'll be able to see which areas are up, which areas are down, where we may need to make adjustments. And we'll do that like we're doing now and have a little workshop. So you can see all of it, make some decisions after that.
I remember working with Jameson a couple of times. He would say, well, you all probably need to go about 7% for your increase. And we're like, no, we can't, we don't want to pass that on to employees. So what would he do? He'd get on his little magic computer and he'd figure it out, and we figure out a way to not do that. So that's been a really, really big help.
Well, you guys have a voice,
Mhm.
which is really
Our
nice. Yeah, exactly.
What has been the feedback from employees on these plans?
That's a great question. So we do have an insurance committee, and it did invite, can you raise your hand if you're on the insurance committee? Welcome, thank you for your service. And so I invited them to listen to the conversation today, and I will have a follow-up meeting with them after this meeting. So based on any feedback or direction that you give us today, we can share that in the insurance committee. I'll also be able to hear their concerns. And then if it's, you know, something that we need to pass on or reconsider when we do the final vote, then we can have that conversation in April. But to answer your question, Mr. Ramirez, we are gonna have a follow-up meeting with the employees.
And we have had a meeting with them. I mean, a couple of our board members were there to just observe that conversation. And, you know, one of the things that's so different and so rich about us as an employer is that we offer that family coverage.
Mm.
And I think that question came up, you know, will we still have family coverage on this plan? Will we still have the gold copay option on this plan? You know, so we did hear some of those requests, and we chose in the structure that we put in place to honor those voices out there and some of those things that are important to our employees.
What are some concerns that have been voiced that are still yet to be addressed or being worked on?
I think probably what came over loudest and clearest was just not getting rid of that copay gold, no deductible plan. That our employees have been on that plan for a number of years and have and it's worked really well for them. So that was a big concern. Some of the other concerns were, you know, obviously the change to the health savings account that could be significant for some employees who were counting on a certain level of contribution so that they would have those monies available to them when they needed it. So we, you know, have to navigate that part of the conversation. In terms of the plan design, I don't think I've heard anything in terms of deductibles or, you know, costs for the various services like ER pay or visit copays. So that will probably be one of their two biggest concerns, I would think. But, you know, we'll see when we have our committee meeting.
Yeah, that no deductible plan is going to sunset after next year, right?
Correct.
That's made so. Was there a compromise made or is there like a plan close to that, no deductible, which one?
Well, that's what we're
Is that
doing.
the-
This-
yeah.
Yeah, that'll be the EPO
The
plan.
EPO one? The first one?
So that's this here. This is.
Where it says zero.
Oh, yeah, zero.
This one models that. So we're still keeping it intact for next year.
Yeah, I kept seeing the 5,000, I missed the zero above it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's yours very small.
So that is what, the plan design, we honored that request, and that it was something that was real. And we have, we have 52 employees on here, right? So it's about a third that we have. So when you make any of these decisions, you're gonna impact a certain population, right? But when we look at the whole organization and what our employees' needs are, we feel that offering these options are allowing them to make personal choices for themselves and for their families.
Evidently it works because you got it almost a third of it.
Exactly. So there's just gonna be little slight adjustments, but I think overall, Valley Schools did a really good job at trying to mirror what we currently have in place to minimize that first year transition over.
James, so what do you see a trend in pharmacy costs? You see any relief inside of that?
No, we're not, as these, new genetic drugs that are coming out, I mean, they're amazing, so there's one for the hemophilia, which you guys don't have one, but that's when somebody can't stop bleeding. They're anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million a year to support somebody with that health condition. But the cure though is gonna be about 2.5 million to $3 million. So it's great they're gonna get cured, but it's gonna be a very expensive cost. Which we're seeing more of those drugs in the pipeline that are gonna be $1 million, $2 million, $3 million. And so that's kind of where we're seeing the pharmacy industry spend more of their resources are in those more expensive specialty medications, going after more orphan kind of conditions because there's bigger dollars there.
Thank you, everyone, for your attention and questions.
Good side appreciate your work. Thanks very much so. And Louisa, does you see the close the work today?
The study session will begin at 4:30. The regular.
And I still getting out.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Please.
Make it off this one.
I'm sorry, can I have your names? I have to include that in the James. What was your last name?
So my first name is James.
James. James. Uh-huh. What is her name?
Christy.
Christy with a K.
C.
CHRISTY. Got it. That's just for my meeting minutes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I see the travel back up. I see the travel.
Salary, so.
From the attachments.
So, but I think eventually it's all gonna come out and people don't realize that everything works out, there's gonna be more money available for people.
My
Instead of giving
friend,
away
I will talk to you
$1 million,
Friday. Sounds good.
to get the pay more raises, so there might be a little short-term pain.
I know.
How long do you know? I can say no more. It's so long. It's so long.
Yeah.
We have 4:30.
Yep, we're ready.
Good afternoon. Welcome everyone to our board meeting. We're missing any board members? No, we're all, okay, yeah, we're all here. Frank is not here today, and Terry.
Frank Strucker or absent.
Yes,
Is that a quorum, right?
yes,
They got any?
yeah. Let me log in again. Oh, and then, pledge of allegiance, yeah.
Mr. Mike. Mike Panas.
Oh, there we go. I couldn't find my spot on my place on the agenda. Pledge of allegiance. Who is coming up?
It's coming up for this.
You're gonna need a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Gonna sign this. Next item on the agenda is the motion to adopt agenda as presented or recommended. Any changes? And then- Okay. I have a second.
I'll second.
Motion and a second.
I just got it.
I'm so slow.
Next is a summary of current events, starting with Superintendent Dr. Spurgeon.
Thank you, Chairman Ramirez. A few things that have happened since last time we met, though, several very exciting things. But each semester, we get our first semester data, and so I go out to the campuses, we bring in a West-MEC t-shirt, and then I provide them the updates to all of our new data. And so one of the most exciting things is this first semester was our best first semester in the history of West-MEC, where we were up 31% for credentials earned over last year's first semester, which was the best we'd ever done. So that's great news for all the work that our campus administrators, staff, and everyone that's doing. It's just been phenomenal. So just always enjoy going out, giving an update, and really giving the kudos to those folks that are doing the work. So just fantastic there. Some tours that we did since last meeting. We had the new Department of Public Safety Assistant Director of Agency and Support Division that came to our central campus to visit law and public safety. And one of the greatest comments that one of the individuals made there was West-MEC sends us the best. And so they continue to give us options because again, some students, because of how young they are, can't get into specific areas like state trooper and get into law enforcement until they're 21. So they're 20 and a half. So they're providing them different options like dispatcher and things like that with some paid internships to keep the students in the pipeline, because if they have to wait from 18 till 20 and a half, sometimes the students drop off and lose interest. So trying to offer those students the opportunity to stay in that pipeline to be able to get that done. We finally got the Morrow and Ready indoor go-kart folks out to the Northwest campus to see power sports. And what's really interesting is, unless you really know West-MEC, if you've been there, you understand the quality and the excellence that we're providing for interactive education. Well, oftentimes visitors will come and their expectations really are maybe a lot lower than what they expect, but usually when they leave, it's completely changed in paradigm. And so we could have been more thrilled with the group that came out, and they have all electric go-karts. So they're gonna hard open on April the 29th. And then about a month or so after that, we're gonna try to get some of our students, or at least some more conversations. I said, listen, we're giving you free workers. I mean, they come out and do your work-based learning, they're working on your go-karts for free. And eventually you're probably gonna hire some of those students because they're gonna be well equipped. Plus, I think it also forces us as a school district, if we don't have much electrical in our power sports or our automotive, it allows our teachers to add that part of the program to put our students at even more of an advantage when they go in to apply for new jobs. I think so. Very excited about that partnership. Via Resort sent some individuals out to our Southwest campus to view our programs out there, because they're going to need some continued workers there, welders, electricians, things like that. So they toured our campus. I think it was on February the 25th, 26th. And then we had an ACTE Spring 2025 school study visit. ACTE, the national organization, picks one spot a year to send groups, and they sent about 25 participants to our Southwest campus and our Northwest campus. We spent the entire part of 2 days taking them through the campuses. And we have probably 4 or 5 of our departments that talk through the process and procedures, forms, how we do things. And I think everyone left there. I got an email back from the deputy director that said they just had the most phenomenal time. And we were so gracious in sharing the things that we do here at West-MEC. And again, one of the greatest things I think we do is we share everything. We want to make everybody better. And by doing that, it allows people to replicate those excellent practices around the United States and other places, which is fantastic. Groundbreaking, I think, thanks to each of you that were able to make the Southeast campus groundbreaking. And if you didn't get a chance to look through the VR glasses where you got a chance to take a picture, to be able to see the piece that was there, and then the rolling video that was playing there with the layered, which I thought was just fantastic. And then yesterday, McCarthy has a tradition where they have, one of their signatures is a little pine tree. And so it's called the topping off beam ceremony. So they put the last beam in the top, which finishes out the beam piece that they're gonna put on, and it was orange. If you look at my LinkedIn or other places, you'll see the orange beam, and it had West-MEC and McCarthy and OW and TSMC and Amcor and several of our partners were across there with some of our equipment. And so we all got a chance to sign that along with our construction class of students. Got to sign all that as well, and we got to see them hoisted up and put down in, and that was the completion of the actual topping out of the Northeast Campus Advanced Manufacturing and Welding Facility. So just a great service yesterday for the students to be able to be a part of that. Other meetings, I met with a gentleman named David Sates, who is from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And he said, you know, Dr. Spurgeon, we have many of the traditional CTE programs in our area, but they're not really meeting the workforce needs. And we want to see how your standalone programs at your central campuses are meeting, and you're able to be nimble enough to make the changes with what's needed in the workforce. So they're sending a group out on April 7th and 8th. And then on the same days, Denver Public Schools is also sending their CTE department out to see us as well, because they want to make some changes in their CTE department. So it's going to be a great April 7th and April 8th. And any of you are more than welcome to join us at any time for those, because they're just great conversations. And we typically have the students. The ACTE came out. This was the first time that it was a full student-led tour. And the students led in each of the departments. Everyone we went into, all the students led those. They were just fantastic. The kids are just phenomenal. April 7th and 8th.
Where's it gonna be? Central campus?
Southwest campus will probably be the place. If they have time, Dallas, we may end up going to all 4 of them. I think we're going to all 4 of them. We'll probably start at. Yeah, Southwest campus is usually Monday morning at 7, because we won't be there when the students are there. And then the afternoon, we go to Northwest campus. And then on Tuesday morning, we'll start at Northeast at 7. And then we'll finish up Central sometime when we finish up there. So we'll get all 4 campuses. But I'll have Louisa send that information out to all of you if you'd like to attend. Let her know. Based on Mr. Straka's comments last week about what can we do for Paradise Valley, we met with land advisors, and that's a group that actually has access to about everything that's available across the entire spectrum of the Phoenix Metroplex. And so we have them on the search for us, looking for opportunities in and around a specific area that Mr. Straka would like for us to take a look at. So we had a Zoom meeting with them, and they're on the hunt right now to see if there might be other possibilities for us to do something in the Paradise Valley area. So I'll keep you updated once we get that information back. But they're also able to do some demographic information for us as well, so they can see all the high schools, all the students, all the new subdivisions, they can do all the demographic information. So we're gonna have them pull some information and hand that over to a demographer for them to be able to pull some student information for us, so we can continue to plan for the future of West-MEC and what that looks like for the growth coming out for the next several years. So that's gonna be, that was a great find for us to be able to meet with them. And then the last thing I'll mention, we just recently did several interviews, and you'll be several folks that are on the hiring list tonight for, we had some great candidates, and I think we made some great choices. So that's all I got, Mr. Chairman Ramirez.
Good. Thank you. Moving on to the governing board. Do we have any updates from the governing board? Let's start with Mr. Molina.
I didn't do anything, but I did read I think it was in LinkedIn where I saw that, a national organization recognized, community college CTE programs nationwide. West-MEC was the only recognized high school program was nationwide,
Top 9.
and I thought that was a really, really strong indication of what all these folks are doing on a day-to-day basis. Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, on February 26th, I toured the Raymond Hillis High School for TQI. And I think I visited every single CTE class that there was. And it was great. I have to give a shout out to Julie Rodriguez and Diane Parsons. They just do a phenomenal job working with all our satellite schools and our CTE directors, you know, and so I'm gonna hate to lose Diane. But I mean, Julie, they're phenomenal, you know. And then on March 3rd, I met with the Peoria Unified School District CTE Director, Chad Eichenbaum, who's here today. And we discussed, you know, the issues and stuff like that that Peoria has. And of course, top of the list is always transportation. Career counselor shortages, because they have 4 counselors, 500 kids. You know, and that's kind of crazy. We also discussed some of the programs that West-MEC has that they're not able to attend and stuff because of these transportation issues. And probably the top of their list was the cosmetology, the avionics, and also the estheticians. And then I asked a question about, you know, the math and reading proficiency scores and how that affects, you know, CTE. And so we kind of discussed that and the pros and cons of block scheduling. But it was a good meeting. And then on March 4th, I attended by Zoom, the electrical advisory council meeting with Jay Brooks and Andrea Calhoun, and that went really well. And I think we're going to go ahead and switch over to the NSSER for the curriculum change and for that kind of certification. And that it worked out great. So that was pretty much it for me.
Chairman Ramirez, she's being a little modest too, but she didn't talk about the transportation conversation we have coming up on March the 27th that she's able to set up. Mr. Garcia, we're probably gonna have we're hoping maybe 8 or 10 legislators there to have a conversation around CTED transportation for the first time, to have a really nice group of supporters there to have that conversation, talk about the challenges and potential solutions. So thank you, Ms. Booster, for really doing awesome work.
All right, great. And
It's gonna be on March, or 27th.
27.
At
March
2 p.m., 2 to 4.
They do it school bus once. Went to the groundbreaking. I think that I didn't bring my book, so I think that's all I did.
I'm breaking.
I was expecting to remember it. No, it was good. And I've got the school shovel
Yes.
that I have mounted on the wall.
thanks, Robert.
Same thing, the groundbreaking, it was really good. It's gonna be a great building, it's a great location. I'm excited to see what happens out of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I was at the groundbreaking also, and it's definitely exciting, as everybody expressed. It's very centrally located now. The valley has grown so much, east, west, north of this, and that community really needs it. And being right there, especially right next to one of the offices that I work out of, right there, 91st and Thomas, is just exciting to see. And all the partnerships and we keep getting text messages from Dr. Spurgeon about all the big companies moving into the valley and all the jobs, and it's exciting, and at the same time causes a little bit of anxiety.
Supposedly
'Cause it's like,
200 a day.
exactly, it's
It's
like,
kind of exciting, but I kind of don't like it.
yeah, I like the traffic, but
Still growing.
oh yeah, so I'm glad we're preparing for that growth. So that's great. That's it. All right. Next,
Participation. Have any?
right,
None.
no, the public, okay. Yeah. So just another call to the public for a public comment. Second call to the public. Third call, no takers. Okay. We'll move on. Information discussion session, Peoria Unified School District CTE program report.
Chair, members of the board and Dr. Spurgeon, thank you for inviting us to share an update about Peoria CTE today. My name is Chad Eichenloff. This is my first year as the director for Peoria Unified CTE, or to put it another way, about my 8th month of being the CTE director of Peoria Unified. Really excited to be here today just to share some updates for you, highlight one of our innovative programs, and then answer any questions you may have. In Peoria Unified CTE, we have 24 CTE programs across our 7 comprehensive high schools. What that means for most of our sites is that we have 10 or more different CTE pathways that students can engage in at their satellite campus. In addition to that, students are able to take courses at any of our campuses. For example, welding is only offered at our Peoria High School campus. Students from Liberty High School could attend Peoria High School and participate in that welding course. Our high school programming expands across 6 different career clusters, and really gives students a chance to dive deep into everything from automation and robotics to film and TV to health sciences, sports medicine, medical assisting, and is really built on top of those work-based learning experiences and introducing students to a variety of experiences across that work-based learning continuum. In addition to our traditional programming, we also have our Met Honors program at Peoria High School. Met Professional Academy is part of the Center for Advanced Professional Studies, or the CAPS network. That program is entering its roughly 11th year, and is really a different approach to providing students with the opportunity to be immersed in career connected learning. And so from the very first level of their coursework in their junior year, and it's a double block year long, students are immersed in those career learning opportunities. Every junior in the program has a mentor in industry who they'll meet with 6 to 9 times over the course of the school year. These are students who know that they want to go into one of the 5 pathways: health sciences, cybersecurity, engineering, global business, and bioscience. And so within that, students are connecting with professionals from industry. For example, our bioscience students may have a mentor at TGen, who is a researcher or a graduate student who's in that program or working in that field. And what's really amazing about that is they get to start building their professional network, and that's really one of the key components of that Met experience. And they're able to dive deep into, how do I get into those next steps? What opportunities are available in scholarships and internships over the summer? And as students start to build that professional network, there's really no limit to what they can do. And then in the second year, students are really immersed in that work-based learning experience. Every student will have a work-based learning opportunity where they're either working on client-connected projects and presenting to their client, or they're going out into industry and working in the field. In addition to our high school programming, we have our middle school TLC programming, Technology Life Careers, at our 34 elementary schools. All of our 7th and 8th grade students are engaging in career exploration. those courses are really aligned to what our CTE pathways are in the high school level. So students get to do morning announcements and have some support from our high school film and TV students as they're doing that. They're able to go through an agricultural project so they can determine if this is something that I'm interested in. It's really built around that career exploration phase and then connecting them to their high school opportunities and helping them see that clear pathway throughout. We're providing services, learning opportunities for over 34,000 students in the Peoria Unified School District. 98% of our high school students take at least one CTE course. In any given year, we have over 10,000 students walking through our CTE classrooms and participating in those really unique hands-on learning opportunities. And then just in terms of our total program model, that's the graphic on the right here. All of our CTE programming is really embedded in integrating those work-based learning opportunities, effective classroom instruction, getting students into those lab experiences, no matter what program they're in. And then building on top of our student organizations, our CTSOs, which it's CTSO season right now. We just had a group of students get back from FCCLA. We've got DECA internationals coming up here in a few weeks. And it's really just a unique opportunity for students to build those leadership skills. In Peoria Unified School District, we are really highly focused on this college and career readiness piece and making sure that every student that goes through our program is ready for both college and career so that they have the most opportunity to make those decisions as they enter their post-secondary steps. So we have the My Life model. This is really that full comprehensive career development model that our students start exploring in their 7th grade all the way through 12th grade and beyond, where we're connecting them to those post-secondary opportunities. Just some of the experiences that we highlight in there, a lot of these are in partnership with our counseling division, their Career Pathway Expo. This is an annual event where we bring all of our CTE programs to a single site and have a like CTE exploration night. That's open to students throughout the district. So we have students at every age level coming and engaging with our student leaders and really learning about what does it look like to have high quality CTE experiences at the high school level and what opportunities are available. We know it's changed drastically over the years, right? A CTE classroom looks entirely different than it did 10 or 15 years ago. So providing our students, our parents and families those opportunities to see and feel what CTE is really a big focus for us. In addition to the Career Pathway Expo, we also have college fair and career development workshops. This year, our college fair was held at the Peoria Sports Complex and was open to students, not just in Peoria, but throughout the West Valley. And was really an incredible experience for our students to see all of those post-secondary learning opportunities, both four-year institutions and technical schools and two-year programs. What opportunities are available to them post-high school. We've been doing a lot of work over the last couple of years to really streamline our career development process and create a clear vision for what that looks like from 7th grade and beyond. We have a common career development platform that is managed with School Links. And so all of our 7th grade students start some of that career exploration there. They're able to do some interest surveys, those types of things. There's a game of life where they start to learn the budgeting skills and they set their lifestyle and start to connect to careers that help them have the lifestyle that they want. And then moving into high school, students are diving deeper into resume writing. They're able to do their college applications on this platform. They're able to select their courses for the next year. And so they're able to see that full development of, in my 7th grade year, I'm exploring, all the way to I'm applying for jobs, I'm applying for college, all within one platform, which really allows us to provide a streamlined experience for students and families. And then continuing just to really focus on that work-based learning continuum and looking at how do we provide unique, innovative opportunities for our students in the quickly changing world of work-based learning. And we're going to highlight one of the unique ways that we're doing that in our film and TV programs, where we're able to take our students really to that next level beyond just that classroom and that lab experience through some innovative work-based learning models. A couple of quick highlights I wanted to share as well is we've done a significant amount of work over the last 2-3 years to really curate our resource collection for our teachers and administrators. So this year we launched our CTE Depot. This is our one-stop shop for all of our teachers and administrators so that all of the resources that they need in order to fully understand West-MEC's and highly effective CTE program are available at their fingertips. So you can see some of the just topics that we have in here, the career development activities, marketing materials, all of the resources they need for purchasing and inventory and everything else that goes with running a highly effective CTE program. But one of the pieces I really wanted to share with you on that platform is we have a data depot. And so this provides district level, site level, and teacher program level data for all of our teachers and administrators. So this is built around some of our key performance indicators that we have both in our performance measures for ADE, but also the items that we're monitoring at a district level, and really providing opportunity for advancement. So you can see just here some of the industry credentials. We had over 1,600 industry credentials earned last year. We had students earn more than 3,500 dual enrollment credits by being enrolled in our CTE courses. And then we had almost 400 students achieve our mastery of subject, which has a number. It really brings in all of these different indicators in order to recognize students who are excelling in career and technical education. Another update I wanted to provide is we're excited to be able to expand our programming on our northernmost campus at Liberty High School. We're currently in the process of identifying what programs and expansions are going to happen within that Liberty High School expansion. But we're excited that it's going to be able to bring new CTE programs to that campus as our population in that northernmost school continues to grow. One of the early classrooms we identified as needing additional space and additional resources was their sports training classroom. So there's going to be an additional sports medicine, athletic training classroom and space where students are really able to get that hands-on learning opportunity in sports medicine. With that, I want to turn it over to Mr. Ozan and I am complete Megan Schnee. Thank you. To share a little bit about film and TV and the unique opportunities that students have in this program. Mr. Ozan's a product of Peoria Unified. We were just chatting with Joel in the back of our West-MEC teacher series, our professional development series, and has really done a lot to build this program and create some amazing opportunities for students. Turn it over to you to share a little.
Good afternoon. My name is Kenny Nozan. I'm the film and TV teacher at Liberty High School. Wanted to share a little bit of information about our film and TV program, as Chad kind of talked about. We offer, I think, one of the unique experience within our film and TV program that we kind of started many years ago and has really developed into a community forward service. And so just a little bit of background in our program. Within our courses, we offer our intro class, which gets students involved in the software side of what they're going to use in the film and TV industry. So we get them into programs like Photoshop, After Effects, Premiere, Audition, and just really getting them the foundation of what they're going to need as they move on into our other courses within our advanced class. And when they get into the advanced class, that's where we kind of open that creative freedom a little bit. Most importantly, we take the foundation elements that they learn in that intro class, and then we teach them more on the graphic design, the video editing, some of that film making and scripting ideas, but then give them that opportunity to create other kind of products like doing commercials, highlight reels, going out and doing just packages, interviewing people, getting those one-on-one personal skills to just get them out of their comfort zone, but create product that they can then share on like our morning announcements. And so in that advanced class, we do have all of our campuses do have a morning announcements. Most of them are daily announcements. So every day, students are creating a product that is then shared across campus, across all of our high schools. Along with our advanced class, we also get into different competitions. So aside from our CTSO competitions with FBLA and Skills USA, we also get into competitions with in our own local film festivals. I know Peoria just started a Peoria Film Festival as well, but we also have our own district film festival. And so it gives those kids those opportunities to see what are other high school students doing, right? We've invited other schools from outside of our district to come in and kind of compete along with us. And it's always fun because they go, really, like, that's what they're doing in that other school, right? So they get that idea of like, I can push myself to that next level. And so that's what we're always looking for, is giving those kids the opportunity to see what other kids doing, but also making them realize what potential they have, which is pretty cool. But one of the other cool things that we have started doing in that last couple of years is we've started entering into a competition held by the National Association of Television Arts and Sciences, or as many people know as the Emmy Awards. And so the Emmy organization has a college and high school competition where you compete against other students from not only here in Arizona, but in our region, which consists of New Mexico, Utah, Nevada, and I think it's Northern California. And then once they win in that regional competition, then they go to the national competition. And so I'm excited to say that we have had 3 national winning pieces from across our district, 2 from Liberty High School and 1 from Sunrise Mountain. And so again, we give those kids the opportunity to see and realize what they're truly capable of. And so in that classes, they kind of round out their experience in that advanced class. Then they also have the opportunity to earn their industry certification with Premiere, Photoshop, and on some of the other programs. So that class is really packed with a lot of that freedom of, here's what we can do, give you guys that opportunity to go out there and kind of create that product. But what I think is unique about our film and TV program is our internship. And our internship is our Pure Signal Broadcasting Network. And this was a program that we started back in 2012, 2013, started at Liberty High School. And then the following year, we brought it to 3 of our campuses, and then the following year to the rest of our district. And it all started in that recognition that sometimes it can be challenging for our students to go out into some of the industry and really get that hands-on learning opportunity, and not just the, hey, go run me some copies, or hey, go give me, coffee here and there, right? And so we set out to make this program an internship program where we give kids that hands-on experience. And so with that hands-on experience, we have gone through, we broadcast all sorts of events on our campuses. So we do things like sports with football, basketball, volleyball, soccer, baseball, softball. And so we're doing some of the sports, but we also get into some of our academic ceremonies, our athletic ceremonies, 8th grade promotions with our elementary schools, and then even doing some of our graduations. So it kind of gives us kids a lot of the opportunity to really get out in the field and know what it's like to be in that high stress environment of broadcasting an actual event. Some of the other things that our internship students do in that program is we have where we will do special events like homecoming parades. We've got the pep assemblies, competitions. Like I said, we'll broadcast competitions within our own district. So things like robotics competitions. We've also done unified sports. So tons of different things that just go on our campuses. But then we also build out to our community, where we've had done work with American Legion on a Flag Day celebration. We've also done some community partners with the city of Peoria at the Peoria Sports Complex, where we've done everything from fall league baseball to spring training and just getting our kids to be up on the Jumbotron. And so, again, putting them in that real life experience of, this is what you guys are capable of. And so, we're always looking to give them those hands-on opportunities of, if we've got freelance work coming in where we have community members reach out and say, hey, I've got this, backyard concert that I'm doing. We'll send some kids out there and they can get that hands-on experience and even get paid sometimes, which is pretty cool. But one of the big things that really de-stress is that community partnership, because throughout this experience, we've realized that when we connect with our community, we're providing a service to them, where maybe mom or dad are on the other side of the world and they can't be there for their daughter's game or their son's game, right? And so they can tune in and watch, and that's our kids doing the work, right? They're getting that professional level broadcast from high school students, which is cool. And so, we work with our communities to, get out there. We'll work with businesses on creating commercials. So we've worked with companies like Liberty Buick and Liberty GMC. We've done some stuff with strictly orthodontics and just local businesses, providing those experiences of, okay, let's go make a commercial, right? But then they have a tangible product that by the time they leave, they can use that in their resume and their portfolio. And so I want to kind of give an opportunity for Megan to kind of talk about some of her experiences and kind of what she's done within our program in her time in our program.
Hi, I'm Megan Schnee, and I'm a student at Liberty High School and a first-year student in the welding program at West-MEC Central Campus. I'm here to share my experience in Liberty's Peoria Student Broadcasting Network, PSBN, and film and TV classes. First semester of freshman year, I took the Intro to Film and TV class and learned about video production and how to create a video project from start to finish from our teacher, Matt. Liberty is big on student involvement, so PSBN was a natural choice for me. In my first internship, I quickly learned how to operate cameras, creative teamwork, and commitment to my responsibilities. I started out filming sporting events and then branched out to marketing broadcasts through our school's partnership with the Liberty Buick dealership. The practical experience these off-site events provided made them my favorite, and I took every opportunity available to me. We were involved in videography for MLB spring training games, and I got insight into professional broadcast production while operating a roaming camera for the Savannah Bananas. My PSBN work and film and television experience was a foundation for my current project, a short film I'm creating with my friend. We're submitting it to the Student Production Awards next month, and I'm excited to see what happens.
So like I said, we do offer a wide variety of ways that students can just get involved. And so through these experiences, we start to see that, you know, again, we talk about entering the competition. So we want the kids to recognize what kind of work they can achieve. And so that's why I say we've won national awards for competitions. We've won in state and national CTSO competition. So again, we're really trying to give those kids those opportunities to really just realize what potential they have. And so, you know, through some of our community partnerships, as you'll see in some of the images up on the screen, some of the images you'll see there is actually our brand new broadcast trailer that we are in the process of finishing up. And this was a spurred up idea as we were at Grand Canyon University and we were broadcasting a baseball game there. And they're like, hey, if you guys are coming in to broadcast it, hey, if you want to pull up your trailer or your truck and connect to our fiber infrastructure, go for it. And we're like, we got nothing. And so from there, we're like, how cool would it be if one day we could come in and do that exact same thing? And so that is the result of working with our community partners to say, hey, have you thought about this? And so we're putting that into action. And so that's what's been really cool, is to see the development of some of those ideas. And so, you know, as we kind of wrap up this presentation, I really just want to thank the West-MEC board and really just your support, because it allows our students to get these opportunities to learn, but then also give our students that accelerated success as they leave our classrooms and go to ASU, NAU, GCU. And by the time they get into their freshman year, they look around and go, I'm at the same level as a junior in college as a freshman. And so it really, when they come back and tell us that story, it's like, you know, we hope you realize that the opportunities you had here is far better than, you know, other high schools around the country. So again, we want to thank the West-MEC board for their support.
And just to kind of wrap up, I would like to extend my gratitude and that thanks to the West-MEC Superintendent, Dr. Spurgeon, and his team. You know, stepping into this role as a new CT director is a lot. As you can see, we have a lot of programming going on across Peoria Unified. But to have the ability just to brainstorm with this team and the other directors in the West Valley and talk about trends and issues in CTE is invaluable, and really pushes all of our programming at both our central and satellite campuses to really be exceptional compared to a lot of other CTE programs. With that, we'd be happy to stand for any questions, but I'd like to also thank you for having us today.
Yeah, I have a question for Megan. You said you were part of a commercial?
We did like commercial broadcasts for the dealership of Liberty Buick. And we just like followed the owner,
The gentleman.
general manager,
General manager, okay.
Justin Scrow, around, and he like advertised the cars and stuff.
Do you have to film or?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Do you guys have to do any writing or creative, what is it,
So
what do you call it,
we
creative
do talk to a lot
advice?
of our honor hosts, because what it is we have our own version of the the ESPN game day show. And so we take our band, our choir, our cheer, our pom, some of our football players and volleyball players, or any of our sports that are in season. And we'll go down there and put on a full show like you would see with ESPN's game day show. And so part of that process, we'll go through, we'll work with our honor host to kind of look at, okay, who's our guests that are gonna be on the broadcast. We'll go through some of the games, we'll get a lot of the kids involved in some of the games, but then we also work with the general manager there to kind of, again, just give them that feeling of, okay, let's talk about, we're here to dealership, let's take a look at some cars, right? Kind of nice. So we do a lot of that prep work in, okay, let's look at who's gonna be joining us for the show, because we've had anyone from our governing board to news anchors, sports news anchors, and even our superintendent from Maricopa. So we've had a lot of different guests.
Was there any writing on of that commercial by the students or did you guys give any lines to the general manager? Or was it kind of just?
So we don't
Did
do
everything
anything
with
as
just
general
follow?
manager, but we, like I said, we do sit down with the honor hosts that are gonna be interviewing our guests. So we'll have guests from our football team, our athletic director, our admin. We've had our own CTE administration on there. And so we sit down with our honor hosts and say, okay, let's look at what they do. How do they relate to, you know, just the general feel of our presentation here today? So if we're talking fall sports and football season, maybe we'll throw in some fun stuff like, hey, who do you think's gonna win tonight, right? And so we do sit them down and kind of prep them in that process before we put them on air.
Of those businesses, for example, the Liberty Buick, do they use any of that information for their commercial purposes?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So
And
one
so
of
second
the
question to
purposes
that-
behind the commercial we did was to take those commercials and play them at the Harkins Theater at Happy Valley and Lake Pleasant. So that did get put out in the public.
Well, the follow on then is, does that generate any revenue for you? In your
Yes.
CT from them to your CTSO programs or to the program? Okay, good deal.
Chad, you've done a great job for 8 months. You got some big shoes to fill, because I've known Addie Beltra before you, but did good.
And do you live stream your programs?
Yep.
YouTube or the high school website? Where do you?
So we use a platform called Boxcast, but it is available on our district website. So if you go to, I believe it's our district tab, and there should be a button for PSBN. Look at my clock, my students are actually broadcasting a volleyball game here in about 15 minutes. So they're working away with that, which is awesome.
Good deal.
Great job.
Yeah.
Right.
Thank you.
Nice. Next item on the agenda, recognitions and celebrations. And who's gonna present? Oh, here we go.
Derek came to me. So Chairman Ramirez, Dr. Spurgeon, members of the board, I get the exciting role today to celebrate 2 of West-MEC CNI. So we're excited about that. I'm actually gonna do Susan first, so. Oh. I'm doing Susan first because Stephanie has to have the picture. That'll take longer, right? So we want to recognize Susan Leone. She is our work-based learning specialist. You guys have probably worked with her closely on other adventures here at West-MEC. She also currently is the new and related services VP at the national level of ACTE. And then in February, she wrote an article featuring West-MEC programs dealing with community service and implementing our technical skills and professional skills. Thank you, Dr. Spurgeon. I even asked Susan if she had a copy, and she's like, oh. And we gave all of our copies to her. So that is the real live version. We can get you a PDF version of it as well. But I looked at our vet, MA, and dental. I practiced this earlier, but so yeah, our vet, MA, and dental programs and all of the work-based learning and service learning that they do out in the community to really show the impact that West-MEC is having in our community, as well as across the state. So we're excited about that, and I don't know if you want to share anything else about the article that you wrote, but we're so excited for her.
Yeah, you know, they come up with the themes for the magazines and this one was on community service and it just clicked right away because West-MEC and our teachers and our students are so connected to the community and put so much time and effort and just not money, but work and dollars back to these nonprofit organizations. And it was truly a pleasure to write this article and feature those teams of teachers. So I'd love for you to read it and see what they do because it's absolutely amazing.
It's probably easy for you to write it because it's there.
I mean, they did the work. It was cool. Again, it was cool to write the article and feature them, but really it's the teachers and the students doing the work. It's amazing. Yeah.
Awesome, thanks.
Thank you.
It's a really good read too, so we're happy about that. So my second recognition is the Student of the Month, so curriculum instruction. I got all of this today. Employee of the Month, I am so sorry. I feel you, whatever. Anyway, we deal with the students, so I was gonna talk about that.
20 years younger.
We're all students, we learn something new every day, right? So I get to recognize Curriculum Instruction's Employee of the Month. And this was not easy. So the CNI team, I kind of call us the best kept secret. So we're the ones behind the scenes really leveling up our instructors so that we can change student performance and behavior. So we're kind of always in the back, being the biggest cheerleaders for our teachers. And then the results that you all see are those certification numbers and testing numbers and our exceptional things that all of our teachers are doing. But just know that there's a team behind them that's helping them through that. And so we are recognizing Stephanie Stanley, who is one of our curriculum instructional specialists. Like I said, this wasn't an easy decision, but she makes it easy. So she really assisted when we had to onboard a new instructional specialist. We had somebody leave us who moved back home in October. And so we brought on a brand new specialist, and with everything that West-MEC is doing and things going on, really took her by her wing and supported her through that smooth transition of becoming an instructional specialist with us. She also created, as you guys know, career literacy is huge for us right now. It's one of our district goals. And she's created some phenomenal flow charts to support our teachers with, hey, you need to do this with your kids today, this tomorrow, this by the end of the week, and so forth. So she's developed all of those, and we've given those out to all of our teachers. We adopted a new instructional coaching software this year to kind of really show the ROI that the instructional specialists are doing with all of our teachers. And we talk about it every week, but she really took that on and has found ways to make the software better use for us through that whole process. She does coach the teachers at Northwest and Southwest, so our two large campuses, along with another instructional specialist the one she helped onboard. And she just really builds those relationships and provides meaningful feedback to our instructional teachers every day. And so we are so excited to celebrate her. So congratulations.
She's the face behind the success.
Exactly.
100%. There's a big group of us.
Yeah. 7 on the instructional specialist team, so she's one. But we got you a cute little gift. So that is for you because you are a difference maker. So yes. Awesome.
You know about because we don't see it.
I know, I signed it. What is it? The one with the. No. Coming out. Is that over there?
Gotta see the picture like this.
I'm gonna get that. Oh, there you go.
All right, 1, 2, 3. And then one more. 1, 2, 3. 3. Congratulations. Well deserved.
Thank you.
Right, closing out our recognitions tonight, one more just kind of overall West-MEC award, and Mr. Molina, this may be the award you were referencing earlier that that was showcased on LinkedIn, or might not, there's a lot of them out there. But this is an overall West-MEC award that we received from NC3. And so the NC3 is the National Coalition of Certification Partners. So it's kind of you look at it kind of an umbrella of multiple industry certification and industry partners that work together to provide certifications for students throughout the country. And so there are several certifications for our auto technology program, some micro credentials, our welding program, all of our energy and manufacturing, automation, robotics, just as some examples that fall under this NC3 umbrella. And so we were recognized with the NC3 START Award, which really recognized West-MEC for the partnerships with business and industry and that credential achievement for students. And as Mr. Molina referenced earlier, this award, West-MEC being highlighted, we really at the high school level, there isn't anyone at the high school level achieving and being recognized for on par with community colleges for the work that we're doing in this arena with industry and with the credentials and certification. And so this is really a credit to our entire teaching and learning team, also Frank Quinn and the PD team specifically kind of oversee that NC3 partnership. And Frank has been recognized before up here for some of his work with NC3 and with that partnership. So, and then our teachers, our curriculum instruction team, embedding these credentials in programs and really making it a priority for students. So really just an overall award throughout for West-MEC and all the achievements that happen for our students that is recognized nationally. Congratulations, West-MEC.
Yeah. So Chairman Ramirez, I have one more recognition this evening. We are going to be losing a very special family member of West-MEC that will be leaving us. This will be her last meeting. And so I just have a statement I'd like to read and that's a little award for her. So on behalf of myself and our cabinet members, I would like to personally express our deepest gratitude to Miss Louisa Brown. As the executive administrative assistant to the superintendent and the governing board secretary, Louisa has been the steady hand guiding us through countless meetings, decisions, and transitions. Her expertise, attention to detail, and unwavering dedication has not only kept us on track, but has set a standard of excellence that will serve this board for years to come. The systems she put in place are a testament to her forward-thinking approach and commitment to efficiency. Simply put, Louisa, you've made a lasting impact on us.
Getting us over to the computer, no books.
While we will certainly miss you, we are thrilled for you as you step into this exciting new chapter of retirement. May it be filled with joy, relaxation, and all the adventures you've been waiting for. On behalf of the governing board and the entire district, thank you, Louisa.
Tell everybody, if you're gonna look for me, you'll find me at Lowe's watering plants.
That's why I want to do it. Don't worry, I'll Photoshop that.
This is my baby sweet.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'll stand right here.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Then one more. 1, 2, 3. Well deserved. Congratulations. Thank you.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
So,
Yes,
as I will transition. This is who you guys are going to be approving on the next agenda item. This is Sherry Henson, who will be taking my place. I will be training her. I will be a phone call away.
And for those of you that know Jim Grecian, there's a service system.
She has loads of CTE experience coming into this position, so.
Okay,
Who's assistant?
Jim Grace Hager.
Oh.
That's her, so loads of CTE experience, all kind of things, so. Very glad to hopefully get you approved here in a while.
So it's bittersweet, but I also wanted to officially welcome Sherry and I know you're gonna do great things, even though we're so gonna miss Louisa. We're gonna be here to help transition you with the board and with the superintendent's office, so welcome aboard.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you.
Consent agenda.
Okay. Consent agenda, so can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented and or amended?
Hi.
Okay. 5. And I get a motion to approve the consent agenda except for H5.
Okay.
Second, okay.
So it's motion made by Linda Bosom with the exception of H5 to be approved by separate vote.
Motion with that,
Oh, Ed Molina.
second by Ms. Bosom. Oh, she made the motion. But you motion, she's.
Yeah, she's second.
Made by Linda Bosom, seconded by Edward Molina, pulling H5 to be approved by separate vote. Okay, you guys can go right to H5. If you hit refresh, it'll be there. And the consent agenda vote has been taken off so that you guys can look at H5 right now.
Okay.
You have to hit that refresh button.
Yeah, because it's gonna end up being a separate vote when you go to vote on it.
It's still listed in the same location, right? It's
It's the
just,
same location,
okay, okay.
same location.
But it is
It's in consent agenda.
It's just
It's
highlighted
just
now.
not an action consent item anymore. It's an action discussion item, so you guys can discuss it.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
So you can reach.
All right, so we're moving now to action discussion and that item.
No, we're
obviously
just
travel.
go right to H5 to consent agenda item H5. Just go right there.
Okay, so. Are we open to discussion first, or is there a motion? What is the procedure?
I kind of wanted to know, you know, we are sending out a lot of our employees and stuff like that, and like every school district does for training and things like that. And there has been some recent investigations that have uncovered unchecked spending. And so I really want to bring and highlight this for our community's transparency. And so that they know that we are providing oversight. I'd like to know, for any of these, courses or, conferences, is it possible to bring somebody in to give a highlight of these conferences? Or, to training, specialized training?
Like after they attend the training?
No.
Before they attend it?
Training in-house rather than sending people out to get trained.
Are you asking that or are you asking for
Yes.
someone to present after the training?
See, what opportunities are there to bring in-house training instead of sending people out and traveling and making all those expenditures. And the reason why I bring this up is there's like one high school that is a small high school and they spent like over 103,000 just for that. A similar high school spent less than, or just right around $5,000 just by bringing in people to teach. And I think that we can do things better and I would like to explore those kind of opportunities.
Chairman, Ms. Ramirez, Ms. Busam, I can speak about teacher professional development. I know that we provide the full series of teacher required training that is required for the state of Arizona. That is all done for our central program teachers with the opportunity for them to then apply that. So all of our central programs are receiving training here without having to go out and pay travel or college expenses to take that with it at a college level. So we have acquired that and done that. As far as other teacher training and conferences or other employees, I'll let Jared speak.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for the question. And we will certainly continue to explore any ways that we can keep things in-house. A couple of the examples on tonight's agenda, what's a little different with West-MEC than maybe some other school districts is our teachers are coming from various industries. And so sometimes, like the two examples tonight for teachers, they're going to industry specific trainings put on by their industry professional organizations that oftentimes is required for them to bring back the latest information for students, number one, but also to maintain their own credentialing that allows them to then credential students as well. So there are times where we can bring some of the, as much as possible in-house, but some of these industry specific trainings, sometimes we've got to go out to attend some of those trainings. But with that being said, we will certainly look for every opportunity to bring those opportunities in-house when at all possible.
And we'll also look at that as well, but the other thing that you may not know is the NC3 that we got the award for, and we're a national training site for them. So they bring their national trainers here, and then that way we don't have to go out and get the NC3 training. They actually train on our Southwest campus, where they did 2 years ago and the year before that. So there's some things we already do, but could there be more options? Sure, and I think confidentially, we look at that as much as we can.
Yeah, I'd like to see more of that happening,
How much of our training is actually paid for by other organizations other than our overhead budget?
Or like teacher professional development.
Say somebody out, how many of those are actually not paid for by us? Either by wages or travel or expenses that is paid by another organization?
I think that varies depending on, so it would be hard for me to say what percentage that is that's.
But do we have those on occasion?
Absolutely.
And we don't pay a dime on it?
Yes.
All right.
There certainly are times where through sponsorships of industry partners, there's just one example, we have an AWS welding training that's a national training that we're gonna host at West-MEC in May that because we're hosting it, that's normally about $1,000 cost for employees. We're gonna get 2 spots for free for our staff to attend it. So there's lots of examples of that, Mr. Garcia, that
For NC3, any of our teachers get that NC3 training as a national site for free. And then our membership allows all the NC3 credentials, whether it's 5 or 5,000. We get them all at no cost to us. So there's some added benefits of bringing those on site, even though it's a little bit of a headache and a nightmare to schedule those things. There's great benefit to West-MEC students and staff. So yes.
If we were to bring in a one-off, somebody to come in and provide instruction to, for example, in this, we're sending one person in 2 different instances. If we were to bring the instructor here, would that cost us to bring that instructor here, plus the per diem, travel and per diem, and whatever their wages are and all that kind of stuff, so that, so that's.
Yeah, yes.
Now, if we have 100 students, 100 teachers, then it would make sense to bring in somebody here, because they wouldn't spend $100,000.
Exactly.
And we'd pay the one instructor one time and one per diem and so on and so forth. But if we've got a one each going off, it might might be better doing it this way. That's not-
Lucy, you bring up a great point, and Joel, one of the things we might want to take a look at, so maybe we become a consortium in maybe some areas where, because we have such a large need and a large CTE presence, there might be some places where that makes sense for us instead of going to pay, $2,000 to go get a certification, maybe with, if you have 50 or 60 or 70 people that would be here in the area, we could probably get it cheaper to bring someone in. So at least if we can take a look at, there's ways to do that.
That would be excellent.
I imagine there would be costs to hosting an event like
Yes.
that too, so.
Yeah, but it
have
could
to
be
consider
less
that.
than sending out,
Yeah.
having to pay the per diem and the travel for the person to come out, plus whatever the cost might be for individual trainers could be less
Depending on
expensive
the
in some
amount of the
ways.
trainers.
Yeah, and plus being here, you're probably gonna get better participation.
Yeah.
A larger number of people because it'd be less.
Larger amount of West-MEC, yeah.
Yeah, we can look at that.
Yeah, it's a good idea. All right, call for the question. I'm gonna make a motion so we can vote. So we make a motion to approve government and out-of-state travel.
Do you want to prove it now?
Oh, yeah, I'll make a motion to approve it. Yeah.
Second.
Motion from Linda and second from Ed.
We like to have people here anyway. I mean, it's just natural because we have such wonderful facilities.
You guys are staying in Tucson, right? For that summer conference.
Motion passes.
Okay. Back to discussion then. Action discussion, looks like Marcia, you're up. Matt, not here.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Chairman Ramirez and members of the board. So we are asking you to approve this utility easement for Arizona Public Service to pull power onto our northeast campus to our new building. What we found is that the existing power that is feeding our campus is not enough to run our welding program in a sense. So they have asked us if they can come on our property. I've talked to Mr. Heath about that, and it is not going to be disruptive at all. It's going to be out of the way. There's nothing else that we're going to build in this area. So we're asking that you approve this so that we can bring the power we need to our new building.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve the utility easement? A second?
Motion made by Linda Bus and seconded by Edward Molina. It's gonna be a nice meeting.
Yeah, we have no power, we have no. Yeah. Cause it was, they need to run another line or something.
That's it. Upgrade the electrical panel.
Okay.
Barbara, did you vote?
No, I'm thinking about it.
You were leaning back, I thought you were done.
Yeah, it's talking in class. Motion passes, okay. Last item on the agenda is a request for future agenda items.
Last July, we approved immersion labs, and that was that AI customer service thing that we approved, the majority of the board approved. I'd kind of like to get an update on that. Which programs are we using it? Which campuses are we using it in? When did we start using it? And how often is it used during class time? Is it used, in every day for every class? And how do we measure a student's customer service skills? How do you measure that? How do you measure their skill set? I'd like to kind of see a comparison of before and after AI.
In terms of grade,
Yeah.
or what are you looking for?
Well, I don't know, something concrete, so you could see some kind of improvement.
Grade, percentage.
Grade or whatever, there's, there's gotta be some kind of a measurement that we come up with. To assess, how much they're learning, and if it's doing, if we're doing our job, yes.
Yeah, they're capturing the material that they're being taught.
It's all measured against a rubric, yes,
So, yeah.
yes.
And I was wondering if, is there any time savings to teachers, by using this, well. Shut up. And I would like to go to each of our campuses. I'd like to go to those classrooms that use that, and I'd like to see the in-person demonstration.
Any other agenda items?
That's one. And then the second one, I was wondering, what types of grants have we applied for? How much in each? And what purposes are they earmarked for? And the usage timeline. So if we apply for a grant, do we keep this grant around for, several years? Just, are we using it, just so we have it, or, is it?
Just a list of grants.
Yes.
Can I just have Marcy send that to the board as an email?
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great.
The other thing I want to mention real quick is, you talked about grants is, we're gonna be looking to potentially add that process onto a position that's gonna be open in the future, because there's so much money out there right now for grants. We don't really have anybody specifically on West-MEC staff, so we're trying to maybe add that to an open position that we may be able to modify. Because we think there's just millions of dollars sitting out there for West-MEC.
You're talking about a grant writer.
A portion on staff, someone's position at a time. Some grants that make sense for us not to overwhelm that person, but then, some grants will pay for a portion of salaries and things like that, so.
Is it something that we actually need? Do we set aside a budget of what we want to accomplish, for our students and stuff like that? Do we actually need these grants? Because you have to understand too, we are using taxpayer dollars, what's, right? We want to do.
But it would just be in the area, and again, we're not there yet, but it would just be areas that make sense where we maybe didn't have the finances to be able to do something we wanted to do. There might be a grant available to be able to do that thing. Yeah, but it wouldn't be just blanket, just.
Yeah.
Some grants have so many things behind the scenes, you can read the small print, you wouldn't want them anyway.
Well, I mean, one thing that's just sort of mind is transportation.
Yeah.
If we.
Any other agenda items?
So actually piggybacking off of what Linda just said, sparked a thing for me. Can we, on our next meeting, can we talk about, or at least have a discussion on how the changes of the Department of Education will impact our school? If there is any change, I already know the answer to some of that, but I think for the sake of the rest of the group to understand where we're at with that. Because it is happening, and I know there's a lot of conversation on the state level about what the impacts are, and again, I know the answers, I just want to know if you guys know the answers, but how that's gonna impact our school, if it does impact our school, what kind of, because it is gonna impact certain parts of funding. And what are those impacts according to what you know as a school? Kind of a small report, just something for our context.
Okay, we'll have to look at it. If we took Perkins money, it would be more of an impact than if since we don't, those that are getting Perkins money right now, there could be a different impact than us.
Yeah.
But we'll have to do a little research on that and see what's out
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Maybe minimal right now, maybe a lot of guessing or maybe assumptions.
I was thinking about grants, whether or not those grants.
They're not eliminating.
No, but there
A
are
lot of it's gonna
funding
move
buckets are gonna
to this
change.
Department, yeah, part of it.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
they have to be-
Updates.
Yeah, just an update of where that's gonna impact CTE schooling. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Adjourn this meeting.
Motion to
Motion to
adjourn.
adjourn. Motion to adjourn.
I motion and I second and I adjourn.
I'll second.
I'm.
Said I could.